Now the Permissions tab is where you can adjust individual permissions on a page or piece of content within the site. And permissions in Itrium are always applied at a category level or on types of content that contain other types of content. It's never applied to individual resource level elements such as an SEO element or HTML element. I'll explain more about that later. Anyway, the permissions in Itrium are sort of preset by default, and you typically never have to change them. But from time to time, you might want to make a particular piece of content, a page on your site or a section of your site, only accessible to certain groups of users. So I'm just going to explain the permissions that are here quickly. So by default, visitors on Itrium sites can read and peek permissions. Now, a read permission is what allows you to view the actual content that's on that page, whereas peek allows you to see a link to that page. And then the additional permissions that are here, update, delete, and publish, are permissions that are typically assigned to folks that are in groups that have editing capabilities. For instance, as I'm wandering through these groups, you're going to see a list of groups. I'm going to back up just one level here. I have the main groups that are available in Itrium. And then groups in Itrium are all hierarchical in nature. So as I drill down, I can say, okay, if I'm a visitor, if I'm logged in, I could be a guest. And if I'm a guest, I might be an updater. And you can see here that updaters have more permissions than just visitors. All right? Now, the second type of permissions that you have access to are called type and category permissions. And this is where we control what types of things you can see in the page you're on. So for instance, a very common thing we would have is HTML, and visitors can read and peek HTML. Now I know that peek is not really required for HTML, so I might apply that and just say, okay, I can read the information in this page. I'm never going to have a link to an HTML element that's in this page. So permissions get a bit complex. We don't want to go into great detail there, but I just want to show you some of the features. Now the last thing that is available through the Permissions tab is a way where you can automatically assign permissions to different things. So for instance, if I had a bunch of different types of content that were all based on HTML, I could assign permissions to HTML and all its subtypes within this page. I can also do the same thing for categories. So I can go and apply to all different subtypes of categories, and then I can apply to subgroups as well. So if I assign a permission, I can assign it to visitors and all the subgroups of permissions underneath. So that's enough for permissions today. I just want to show you some of the features there. Not so simple, not so easy, but very flexible and feature rich for what you need for controlling permissions within an Itrium site.